Welcome back, American coin hunter. The story of the 1994 United States 1-cent coin begins quietly, almost invisibly, the way many extraordinary stories do, hidden in plain sight among billions of ordinary objects that pass through human hands every single day. Because in 1994, the humble Lincoln cent was not considered special, not considered rare, not considered powerful, and certainly not considered something that could one day be whispered about in the same breath as life-changing wealth. Museum-level rarity, or values that sound impossible to believe. And yet the 1994 penny exists at the crossroads of history, metal, machinery, human error, and time, and that is exactly where legends are born. The United States 1-cent coin struck in 1994 carries with it the weight of more than a century of American monetary tradition, because by that year the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for 85 years, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, making it the first regularly circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical person, a revolutionary decision at the time that forever changed American coinage. By 1994, the Lincoln Memorial design created by Frank Gasparo had been in use for 35 years, with Lincoln's dignified profile on the obverse and the iconic memorial building on the reverse, a design so familiar that most people stopped truly seeing it, even as it passed from hand to hand, from pocket to pocket, from register to register. The 1994 1-cent coin was struck primarily from zinc with a thin copper plating, a change that had been in effect since 1982 when rising copper prices forced the U.S. Mint to abandon the traditional solid copper alloy composition. And this shift alone makes modern pennies fundamentally different from their older counterparts, lighter in weight and more fragile beneath the surface, because while they shine like copper, inside they are something else entirely. The official weight of a 1994 penny is 2.5 grams, a precise measurement that coin collectors know by heart, because even the smallest deviation in weight can sometimes reveal something extraordinary, something unintended, something that slipped past quality control and entered circulation against all odds. The diameter of the coin is 19.05 millimeters, its thickness about 1.52 millimeters, and its smooth edge gives no hint of mystery. Yet for collectors, every micron of metal matters. Every fraction of a gram can mean the difference between an ordinary cent and a coin that rewrites expectations. The obverse of the 1994 Lincoln cent bears the word Liberty to the left of Lincoln's portrait, the year 1994 to the right, and the famous phrase "I in God we trust" arched above his head, a motto that has appeared on U.S. coins since the Civil War era and reflects the cultural and historical values embedded into American currency. The sculptor Victor David Brenner's initials, VDB, sits subtly at the truncation of Lincoln's shoulder, a detail many people never notice, yet it connects the coin directly back to its original designer, a silent signature that has survived wars, economic collapses, technological revolutions, and social change. The reverse of the coin shows the Lincoln Memorial, with the words United States of America across the top, E pluribus unum beneath it, and 1 cent boldly displayed at the bottom. And if you look closely, you can actually see a tiny seated statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, making this one of the few U.S. coins where the same person appears on both sides. In 1994, pennies were struck at multiple mint facilities, including Philadelphia, which produced coins with no mint mark, Denver, which struck coins bearing the small d beneath the date, and San Francisco, which produced proof coins intended for collectors, marked with an S. The total mintage numbers were enormous, reaching into the billions, and on paper this alone should eliminate any possibility of rarity. Yet seasoned collectors know that rarity is not only about how many were made, but how many survived, how many were made correctly, and how many were made incorrectly in just the right way to become something entirely different. Because within those billions of coins, machines were operating at high speed, metal blanks were fed through presses, dies wore down, misaligned, cracked, doubled, and sometimes failed spectacularly, creating errors that slipped through unnoticed, errors that would later be discovered by sharp eyes and patient hands. The idea that a 1994 penny could be worth staggering amounts of money comes not from the average example pulled from a cash drawer, but from the rarest possibilities, the extreme outliers, the coins that exist at the edge of probability. In the world of numismatics, there are stories of pennies struck on the wrong planchet, pennies struck multiple times, pennies missing layers, pennies with dramatic off-center strikes, broad strikes, die clashes, and doubled dies so strong they can be seen without magnification. And while most of these errors command hundreds or thousands of dollars, the mythology grows when collectors begin to speculate about what might exist but has not yet been publicly confirmed, a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and historical anomaly that could place a single coin into a category beyond normal valuation. In auction houses, whispers spread about coins that never surface, pieces held in private collections, vaults, or family estates, coins whose existence is rumored but not documented. And it is in this space that values begin to sound unreal. Because once a coin becomes truly unique, once it cannot be compared to any other, traditional price guides lose their authority and the market becomes whatever someone is willing to pay. The year 1994 itself holds an interesting position in American history. Situated in a decade of economic expansion, technological transition, and global change, when cash still ruled daily life and coins circulated heavily, worn quickly, lost easily, and rarely examined. This environment made it easier for unusual coins to pass unnoticed, because people were not checking pennies for value, they were spending them, dropping them, tossing them into jars, and forgetting them. The average lifespan of a penny in circulation was relatively short, meaning that high-grade examples from 1994 are harder to find today than people might assume, especially those preserved without scratches, stains, or zinc corrosion beneath the copper plating. When collectors search for 1994 cents today, they are not just searching for age, but for condition, because a coin that looks brand new decades later tells a story of preservation, of being set aside intentionally or accidentally, protected from the abuse that destroys valued. AS interest in modern coin errors and varieties has grown. The 1994 penny has attracted renewed attention, especially online, where stories spread rapidly, values are exaggerated, and legends take on a life of their own. Videos, posts, and discussions often mention astonishing figures, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars, attached to a single penny. And while such claims ignite curiosity and excitement, they also reflect something deeper about human nature, the desire to believe that something ordinary can become extraordinary, that wealth can be hiding in plain sight, that a simple coin in your pocket could change everything. For collectors, this fascination is not only about money, but about the hunt, the knowledge, the careful inspection under bright lights and magnification, the thrill of discovering something unusual where no one else was looking. The story of the 1994 1-cent coin continues with the realization that every coin carries more than its physical weight. It carries the weight of history, of production, of human labor, and of chance. When examining a 1994 penny closely, collectors pay attention to the tiniest details, the sharpness of Lincoln's jawline, the alignment of his hair, the depth of the lines in his coat, the spacing of the letters in Liberty, the precision of the date numerals, and the faintest indications of die wear or doubling. These details are not trivial. They are the markers that separate an ordinary example from a potentially valuable piece, because in modern numismatics, the quality of the strike and the fidelity of detail can elevate a coin's desirability exponentially. A penny that preserves every fine line, every subtle texture, every aspect of the original design without blemish is called mint state, and the scale ranges from MS 60, the lowest uncirculated grade, to MS 70, a perfect coin with no visible flaws even under magnification, a true rarity in modern coinage. The minting process itself in 1994 was a marvel of industrial precision, yet also a reminder of human imperfection. Coin blanks, called planchets, were punched from sheets of zinc and copper, then fed into high-speed presses where steel dies impressed Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The dies themselves, hardened steel engraved with the design, could develop microscopic cracks, chips, or shifts over time, leading to varieties like die cracks, die breaks, or double dies. In some cases, these errors were dramatic and easy to see, while in others, they were subtle enough to elude casual observation but detectable under magnification. The rarity and desirability of such coins depend on the uniqueness of the error and the number of examples known to exist. And for a 1994 penny, even a small doubling of the date or letters can make collectors sit up and pay attention because it signifies something that occurred in that precise moment of production, never to be repeated exactly the same way again. Among the most sought-after 1994 penny varieties are those that exhibit doubling of the date or mint mark, where the impression on the coin is slightly offset, creating a shadow effect that is unmistakable to the trained eye. Such doubled dies occur when the die receives more than one impression of the design during preparation. And while they are extremely rare in modern coins compared to older issues, when they do appear, they command attention in the numismatic community. Off-center strikes, another fascinating category, occur when the planchet is not perfectly aligned beneath the die during the strike, resulting in part of the design being cut off or shifted. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the higher the potential value, because it is effectively a one-of-a-kind creation, a coin that could never be duplicated. For a 1994 penny, an off-center strike of more than 15% is considered collectible, and those exceeding 50% can become highly prized among error enthusiasts. Another category that attracts collectors is the broad strike penny, where the metal expands outward beyond the intended diameter due to misalignment with the collar die that controls the coin's edges. Broad strikes from 1994 are especially intriguing because they are extremely limited in number, and each coin can display a unique pattern of spreading, sometimes accompanied by unusual surface textures, stretching the imagination as well as the metal. Additionally, there are wrong planchet errors, where a penny might be struck on the wrong metal blank, such as a dime, nickel, or quarter planchet. These anomalies are exceedingly rare, and while they are almost always reported when discovered, some may still exist undiscovered, hidden in circulation or private collections, fueling the dreams of collectors who search relentlessly. Condition plays an equally critical role in determining value. A 1994 penny found in pristine, uncirculated condition can be worth several dollars to collectors, while one showing heavy wear, scratches, or discoloration may be worth only its face value. Proof coins, struck at the San Francisco Mint with special care for collectors, often exhibit superior detail and mirror-like fields, and when preserved in their original packaging, they are more likely to command higher prices. The difference between MS-65 and MS-70, for example, can represent a dramatic difference in desirability, not merely because of perfection, but because the eye naturally gravitates toward flawless examples, and perfection in modern coins is exceedingly rare, given the volume of production and the potential for handling and environmental damage beyond the physical characteristics. The 1994 penny occupies a fascinating place in the market due to human psychology. Stories of extraordinary finds, rare errors, and coins that defy expectations circulate widely online and in collector communities, driving interest and speculation. Even though a normal 1994 penny is common, the idea that a unique error or minting anomaly could exist somewhere, in a jar, a drawer, or a forgotten coin collection, creates a sense of anticipation and excitement. This is why videos, auctions, and articles often mention astronomical hypothetical values, sometimes into the hundreds of millions in fanciful scenarios, to illustrate the potential for uniqueness, scarcity, and perfection. Whether or not such values are realized in actual sales, the narrative itself captures attention, fuels curiosity, and keeps the coin relevant decades after it was struck. The metallurgy of the 1994 penny is also notable. Composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, the coin can suffer from corrosion in certain environments, particularly if exposed to moisture or acidic substances. Collectors who understand the chemistry of preservation know to handle these pennies carefully, store them in controlled conditions, and avoid cleaning them with abrasive substances, because improper cleaning can destroy the coin's value completely. The way the light reflects off the copper plating, the subtle color variations that develop over time, and the fine textures of the zinc core all contribute to the coin's aesthetic appeal as well as its collectible significance. Some coins develop a natural patina that is highly prized because it indicates age, authenticity, and careful preservation without artificial interference. Mint marks are another subtle but important detail. The D mint mark of Denver distinguishes coins struck at that facility from those struck in Philadelphia or San Francisco, and in some cases, the same year's coins from different mints display slight variations in die alignment, striking pressure, and metal flow. For collectors, these differences may be minor, yet they are the elements that separate one collectible series from another, creating a framework for specialization. A collector might focus exclusively on Denver Mint pennies from 1994, seeking the highest grade examples or hunting for rare error varieties within that specific subset. This approach can turn what seems like a mundane modern coin into a compelling project, a hunt, and a collection with meaningful personal and financial value. Even in circulation, the 1994 penny is a reminder of everyday American life in the mid-1990s, a time before digital payments dominated, when coins exchanged hands constantly in transactions, parking meters, vending machines, and cash registers. Each coin carries traces of that history, whether in microscopic scratches, subtle discolorations, or signs of careful preservation by someone who recognized its potential value. This duality, the coin as both ordinary currency and collectible object, is at the heart of why collectors study pennies so closely, because every minor detail may reveal a story that has unfolded over decades, a story of manufacture, circulation, survival, and discovery. As the story of the 1994 penny unfolds further, one begins to appreciate that coins are not merely pieces of metal, but snapshots of time, technology, and human interaction, frozen in zinc and copper, bearing the marks of industry, nature, and even chance. The 1994 Lincoln cent is a particularly fascinating example because it exists at a crossroads between modern mass production and the enduring principles of numismatics, where precision and imperfection coexist. The more you examine it, the more you see that every detail has significance. The edges, for instance, while smooth and seemingly unremarkable, were formed under strict tolerances, with the collar die ensuring uniformity in diameter and thickness. Any deviation from these measurements, no matter how slight, can indicate an error or anomaly that immediately captures a collector's attention. Broad strikes, where the coin spreads beyond the collar, are examples of this, turning a small production misalignment into a collectible phenomenon. Beyond broad strikes, the 1994 penny can exhibit die cracks, tiny fissures in the steel die that imprint themselves onto the coin's surface. While these cracks might appear as minor lines or scratches at first glance, they are in fact a record of stress endured by the minting equipment, and each crack is unique, never to be repeated in the same pattern. Collectors study these die cracks meticulously because the size, location, and shape of the crack can determine a coin's rarity and value. A prominent die crack that stretches across the date or the word Liberty could make a coin particularly desirable, as it is both visually striking and historically significant, documenting a moment in the mint's production that is fleeting and exclusive. Double dies are another area where the 1994 penny can surprise even seasoned collectors. During the creation of the working die, if the hub strikes the die more than once without perfect alignment, the design elements are effectively doubled. On a Lincoln cent, this might appear as doubling in the date, the letters of liberty, or even in "In God We Trust." The subtlety or prominence of the doubling can have a huge impact on a coin's value. For example, a small doubling that is visible only under magnification might appeal to specialized collectors, while a pronounced doubling that is noticeable to the naked eye can generate broader interest and fetch higher prices at auction. That off-center strikes represent yet another captivating variation. When a planchet is not perfectly centered under the die, the coin is struck with part of the design missing, creating an off-center appearance. The rarity of such a strike is proportional to how dramatic the misalignment is. A coin that is only slightly off-center might be collectible, but modestly so, whereas a coin missing 50% or more of its design can be a showpiece, drawing the attention of serious error coin collectors. Each off-center penny is essentially a one-of-a-kind creation, an industrial accident frozen in metal, where the rules of production collide with the unpredictability of chance. The preservation and grading of 1994 pennies also play a critical role in their perceived and market value. Coins that have remained untouched, free of scratches, abrasions, and tarnish, are graded higher by professional services and the numerical grades assigned. MS 60 through MS 70 for uncirculated coins, can drastically influence price. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, produced with special care and polished dies, often display exceptional mirror-like fields and frosted devices. When preserved in pristine condition, these proof pennies are highly sought after, not just for their beauty, but for their rarity in perfect form. A proof 1994 S penny graded PR 70 could be worth a substantial multiple of its face value simply due to perfection and scarcity. Even normal circulation coins, while mostly common, sometimes hold secrets. Coins that have been stored in coin rolls, forgotten in collections, or accidentally preserved in ideal conditions can emerge decades later as unexpectedly high-grade examples. A collector who discovers a 1994 penny in MS 66 or MS 67 condition, for instance, might have a coin far superior to what is typically found in circulation. This phenomenon underlines one of the most thrilling aspects of coin collecting: the possibility that ordinary coins hiding in drawers, jars, or old cash registers could be extraordinary if examined carefully. Market behavior also affects the perception of value. Stories of a single, flawless, or uniquely errored 1994 penny commanding incredible prices, even reaching fantastical figures in the minds of enthusiasts, capture attention and generate demand. Auction houses, collector forums, and online marketplaces frequently feature extraordinary sales or listings, showcasing rare variations or exceptionally high-grade examples. While the $263 million valuation mentioned in some speculative discussions is hyperbolic, it serves as a narrative tool that emphasizes the principles that make a coin valuable: rarity, condition, historical significance, and the human fascination with uniqueness. The myth itself drives interest, prompting collectors to examine, compare, and sometimes obsess over the subtle differences in the hundreds of millions of pennies minted that year. Coins are also witnesses to history, capturing a specific era's cultural and economic context. The 1994 penny represents a period in American life characterized by rapid technological change, economic expansion, and the dominance of cash transactions in everyday commerce. Each coin that circulated carried with it countless small stories: paid for groceries, transportation, vending machines, charitable donations, and casual exchanges between strangers. These mundane interactions imbue the coin with an almost narrative quality, and collectors often reflect on the journey a coin has taken before it reached their hands, adding a human element to what might otherwise seem like an inert piece of metal. The 1994 penny's metal composition is also noteworthy. Composed primarily of zinc with a copper plating, the coin is lighter than its pre-1982 copper counterparts and reacts differently to environmental conditions. Zinc is prone to corrosion, especially when exposed to moisture or acidic conditions, causing the copper layer to peel or the surface to develop pitting. Collectors recognize the importance of careful handling, proper storage, and avoidance of cleaning methods that could damage the coin. A well-preserved zinc penny from 1994 is a testament to careful stewardship over decades, and this preservation contributes directly to its collectible appeal and potential market value. Mint marks, though small, serve as crucial identifiers for collectors. The Denver Mint's D, Philadelphia's absence of a mint mark, and San Francisco's S proof coins each offer unique considerations in grading, error detection, and collection strategy. Subtle differences in striking pressure, die alignment, and metal flow between mints can influence desirability, and collectors may specialize in a single mint's output from 1994, seeking error coins, high-grade specimens, or proof examples exclusively from that facility. This specificity adds layers of complexity and engagement to the hobby, transforming what appears on the surface to be a uniform, mass-produced object into a subject of endless analysis and discovery. The allure of the 1994 penny also lies in its accessibility. Unlike ancient coins or historically significant rarities that are extremely difficult to obtain, most modern Lincoln cents are available to collectors of all means, providing an entry point into numismatics that is affordable and engaging. This accessibility fuels the hunt for errors, high-grade specimens, and varieties, encouraging collectors to handle, examine, and appreciate coins on a level that is both educational and thrilling. It is this combination of approachability and hidden potential that sustains the fascination with the 1994 penny decades after it left the mint. In essence, the 1994 penny embodies a paradox. It is simultaneously ubiquitous and rare, ordinary and extraordinary, simple and intricate. The millions that exist may be overlooked by the public, yet each coin contains the possibility of uniqueness, the potential to reveal something remarkable under careful examination, and the capacity to ignite the imagination of collectors and enthusiasts. Its design, weight, mint mark, condition, error possibilities, and historical context all intersect to create a coin that is much more than its face value. A small piece of metal with the power to tell stories, inspire fascination, and occasionally, in rare instances, surprise the market with remarkable valuations that defy expectation. The story of the 1994 penny continues to deepen when we examine the rarest of scenarios, where ordinary production meets extraordinary circumstance, producing coins that collectors dream about and markets speculate upon. While the vast majority of 1994 Lincoln cents are common, it is the exceptional cases, coins with errors, perfect strikes, or unusual characteristics, that have captured the fascination of numismatists and enthusiasts alike. One of the most exciting categories involves coins struck on the wrong planchet. A penny struck on a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin blank is almost unfathomably rare because modern minting processes are highly automated and tightly controlled. Yet mistakes do happen, often unnoticed, and when they do, they create coins that are essentially one-of-a-kind artifacts, blending the ordinary with the anomalous. For the 1994 penny, such a coin would not only be historically significant, but could also command extreme prices in the rare event of a public sale. Doubled dies, while less dramatic than wrong planchets, remain among the most collectible varieties. In a 1994 penny, doubling might appear on the date, the letters of liberty, or I in God we trust. These doubled dies occur when the hub impresses the working die more than once in slightly different positions, creating a doubled appearance. While many doubled dies are subtle and only visible under magnification, those that are prominent attract serious collector interest, sometimes driving values from a few dollars for minor examples into the hundreds for pronounced doubling. The rarity and quality of doubling are key, because even a single coin with a dramatic doubled die can spark intense bidding and long-term attention. Off-center strikes represent another category that excites collectors, as each example is effectively unique. When a planchet is misaligned during the strike, a portion of the design is missing, resulting in coins where Lincoln's face might appear truncated or the Lincoln Memorial might be partially absent. These off-center coins vary widely in degree, with those missing 15 to 25% of the design considered collectible, while those missing 50% or more are often highly prized for their dramatic appearance. Each coin tells a story of a momentary lapse in the minting process, captured in metal, never to be repeated exactly in the same way. A dramatic off-center 1994 penny, preserved in uncirculated condition, could become the centerpiece of a collection and a symbol of the unpredictability inherent even in modern coin production. Broad strike errors are yet another fascinating avenue for collectors. A broad strike occurs when the collar die, which normally controls the coin's diameter and edge, fails to restrain the planchet during striking, causing the metal to spread outward. Each broad strike is unique, creating coins that are larger than normal, often with irregular edges and unusual textures on the surface. Collectors prize these coins because they are essentially one-of-a-kind productions, industrial accidents transformed into collectible art. A broad-struck 1994 penny in exceptional condition could command high premiums, particularly if it displays symmetry, aesthetic appeal, and no post-striking damage. Condition, naturally, amplifies every form of rarity. Uncirculated pennies from 1994, particularly those graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services, are already significant because such coins are difficult to find intact after decades in circulation. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, particularly PR 69 or PR 70 examples, represent perfection and are highly collectible due to their mirror-like finish and crisp details. The combination of mint mark, strike quality, and preservation can make a single coin exponentially more desirable than a standard circulation issue. A 1994 D penny with a subtle double die or a minor off-center strike, preserved in MS 67 condition, becomes much more than a small piece of zinc and copper. It becomes a tangible intersection of history, craft, and rarity. The narrative surrounding extreme valuations, while often speculative, also plays a role in sustaining interest. Collectors and enthusiasts occasionally imagine scenarios where a single, perfectly preserved, uniquely errored 1994 penny could command millions, or in the realm of fantasy, hundreds of millions. While there is no documented case of a 1994 penny selling for $263 million, the legend serves a psychological purpose. It encourages people to inspect coins carefully, study the market, and consider the potential for extraordinary finds. The story captures imagination, blending fact and speculation, and reinforces the allure of coins as both historical artifacts and potential investments. Numismatic studies of the 1994 penny also focus on microscopic variations and anomalies. Die cracks, lamination errors, and planchet defects are meticulously cataloged by experts, because even the smallest imperfection can differentiate a coin from its billions of siblings. A subtle die crack along the edge of the Lincoln Memorial, unnoticed by casual observers, could turn a standard penny into a sought-after collectible. Lamination errors, where layers of metal separate due to impurities or stress in the alloy, create distinctive surface irregularities that collectors prize for their uniqueness. The depth of study required to identify and appreciate these nuances is part of what makes numismatics such a compelling field. It combines history, science, art, and detective work. Cultural and economic context adds another layer of significance. In 1994, coins were everywhere, exchanged in cash transactions for groceries, public transportation, and small daily purchases. Unlike rarer historical coins, the 1994 penny existed in immense numbers, yet its journey through everyday life imbued it with stories, where patterns and subtle characteristics unique to each coin. For collectors, understanding the life of the coin, from mint to circulation to preservation, enhances appreciation and informs valuation. A coin that shows signs of careful handling, minimal wear, and protection from environmental damage stands out against the backdrop of billions of average pennies. The allure of the 1994 penny is amplified by its accessibility and relatability. Unlike ancient or highly specialized coins, modern pennies are available to collectors of all levels. This accessibility encourages people to explore, inspect, and learn, fostering a deeper engagement with the hobby. Even ordinary pennies hold the potential to surprise, particularly when error coins, high-grade specimens, or proof coins emerge from private collections or forgotten stashes. The narrative of the ordinary transforming into the extraordinary is central to the fascination, feeding the idea that wealth, history, and rarity can be hidden in plain sight, waiting for discovery. In this context, the 1994 penny is more than a simple coin. It is a symbol of curiosity, perseverance, and the unexpected. Each coin represents the possibility of discovery, the thrill of examination, and the satisfaction of recognizing rarity. Whether it is a standard circulation coin, a proof, or a rare error, the 1994 penny demonstrates how mass-produced objects can achieve individual significance. The continuing study of these coins, the fascination with potential errors, and the stories surrounding extreme valuations ensure that the 1994 penny remains relevant, sought after, and admired decades after it left the mint. Collectors continue to monitor the market, studying auction results, participating in forums, and searching through rolls of coins in hopes of discovering unique specimens. The excitement is not merely about financial gain, but about the knowledge, discovery, and connection to a broader history of coinage. Every die crack, double die, off-center strike, and broad strike represents an intersection of human error, industrial precision, and chance. The story of the 1994 penny is therefore not simply a catalog of physical attributes, but a narrative that blends history, production, rarity, and human fascination, revealing why a seemingly ordinary coin can captivate imaginations and spark speculation about values that border on legend. The story of the 1994 penny reaches a new level of fascination when we consider how human perception, market behavior, and the thrill of discovery intersect with the coin's physical characteristics. While ordinary pennies from that year are abundant, their sheer numbers make it statistically likely that unusual examples exist. Coins that slipped through quality control, coins that endured decades in perfect preservation, and coins that, by chance or error, diverged from the standard in subtle or dramatic ways. Collectors know that every coin tells a story, and in the case of the 1994 penny, these stories range from the mundane to the extraordinary, from a coin used to pay for candy to a piece that could, theoretically, fetch a record-breaking price if it embodies a rare combination of error, perfection, and historical significance. One of the most captivating aspects of the 1994 penny is the role of error coins in shaping both collector interest and market value. Errors occur in a variety of ways, and each type has its own allure. Die cracks, as discussed, form when stress in the minting dies produces small fractures that transfer to the coin. These cracks can range from barely visible lines to dramatic patterns that cross multiple design elements, and coins exhibiting prominent die cracks often become prized additions to collections. A single 1994 penny with an unusual or aesthetically pleasing die crack can spark intense bidding interest at auctions, with multiple collectors competing for the rarity. Another form of error, the doubled die, is particularly significant. In 1994, the potential exists for doubling in the date, the letters of liberty, or I in God we trust, resulting from misalignment during the die creation process. Double dies are fascinating because they are essentially frozen moments of imperfection, impossible to replicate exactly, and each one provides numismatists with a tangible link to the minting process. Even minor doubling increases a coin's value, while dramatic, a visible doubling elevates it further, making such coins the centerpiece of collections and the subject of specialized studies. That off-center strikes add yet another layer of intrigue. When a coin is struck partially outside the intended area, the result is a uniquely truncated design, sometimes missing half or more of Lincoln's profile or the Lincoln Memorial. These coins are particularly collectible because each is unique, and they demonstrate how a momentary misalignment in an otherwise precise industrial process can create something entirely different. Off-center 1994 pennies that are preserved in uncirculated condition are highly desirable, offering collectors a combination of rarity, visual impact, and historical significance. Broad strikes, wrong planchets, and other anomalies further expand the range of possibilities for a 1994 penny. Broad strikes occur when the collar die fails to restrain the planchet during striking, resulting in a larger-than-normal coin with irregular edges. Wrong planchets, although extremely rare in modern coins, represent coins struck on the incorrect metal blank, which can be anything from a dime to a quarter. Each of these scenarios transforms an ordinary penny into a potentially unique collectible, demonstrating the interplay between production precision, human oversight, and chance. Condition magnifies the significance of these errors. Coins that remain pristine, with no scratches, discoloration, or post-strike damage, are far more valuable than those that have circulated heavily. Professional grading services, which assess a coin's condition and assign a numerical grade, play a critical role in establishing market value. An MS 65 or higher uncirculated 1994 penny can be worth considerably more than its face value, particularly if it exhibits an error. Proof coins, struck with exceptional care at the San Francisco Mint, are especially prized for their mirror-like finish and crisp details, with high-grade proofs commanding premiums due to scarcity and perfection. The market for 1994 pennies reflects both the tangible and psychological aspects of collecting. Ordinary coins remain worth only a few cents or their face value, but error coins, high-grade specimens, and proof examples can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Online forums, auctions, and collector networks fuel speculation, discussion, and research, fostering a community of enthusiasts constantly on the lookout for rare finds. Even hypothetical valuations in the hundreds of millions, while not grounded in actual sales, capture attention and encourage scrutiny because they highlight the principle that uniqueness, condition, and historical significance drive collector interest. Historical context enriches the narrative of the 1994 penny. Struck during a period of economic expansion and technological transition in the United States, these coins circulated widely, exchanged for everyday goods and services, and accumulated traces of daily life. A coin preserved in perfect condition from this era carries not only metal and design, but also a connection to the time, place, and society in which it circulated. Collectors appreciate these coins not only for their potential monetary value, but also for the stories they tell about American life in the mid-1990s, when cash dominated transactions and coins were a tangible part of daily experience. The interplay between rarity, condition, and human fascination ensures that the 1994 penny remains relevant and sought after, even decades later. Each coin embodies potential, from the most mundane example to the rarest error, offering collectors the thrill of discovery and the opportunity to own a piece of numismatic history. Coins like the 1994 penny exemplify how ordinary objects can hold extraordinary possibilities, how small differences in production can create significant value, and how preservation and careful observation can transform everyday currency into collectible treasures. Collectors continue to search for unique examples, studying subtle variations, monitoring market trends, and participating in auctions in the hope of uncovering a coin that surpasses expectations. The excitement is fueled not only by financial prospects, but also by the intellectual challenge of identifying anomalies, understanding minting processes, and tracing a coin's journey from the mint to circulation and, ultimately, to a collector's hands. Each discovery reinforces the idea that even a coin struck in the mass production environment of 1994 can harbor uniqueness, beauty, and historical significance, making it a compelling object of study, speculation, and admiration. The narrative surrounding extreme valuations, including the oft-cited fantastical figure of $263 million for a theoretical 1994 penny, illustrates how imagination and speculation drive collector engagement. While no documented sale approaches this amount, the legend itself captures attention, encouraging scrutiny, research, and debate. It serves as a reminder that in the world of numismatics, perceived rarity, uniqueness, and story can sometimes influence value as much as objective factors. Enthusiasts continue to dream, analyze, and seek coins that might represent the pinnacle of uniqueness, combining condition, error, and provenance in ways that inspire fascination and discussion. Ultimately, the 1994 penny exemplifies the paradoxical nature of modern coin collecting. A mass-produced, seemingly ordinary coin can contain within it the potential for uniqueness, error, and extraordinary value. Its design, composition, mint mark, condition, and historical context all intersect to create possibilities for discovery and appreciation. Collectors, historians, and enthusiasts remain captivated by the 1994 penny because it demonstrates that even the smallest, most common objects can hold secrets, tell stories, and, in rare instances, transform our understanding of value, rarity, and history. The story of the 1994 penny reaches its full richness when we consider the personal journeys of collectors, the legends surrounding extreme valuations, and the rarest examples that have surfaced over time. While most 1994 pennies remain common, there are documented cases of high-grade uncirculated coins and minor error varieties that have sold at auction for significant premiums. A single MS 67 or MS 68 1994 D or 1994 S-proof coin can command hundreds of dollars, and coins with subtle double dies or off-center strikes are valued higher because they are one-of-a-kind artifacts, the product of chance and industrial precision colliding perfectly. Each coin tells a story, not only of its creation at the mint, but also of its survival through decades of circulation, handling, and environmental exposure. A coin preserved in near-perfect condition is evidence of care, luck, and a deep understanding of numismatics. Collectors who specialize in modern Lincoln cents often describe the thrill of the hunt as a combination of detective work and artistic appreciation. They examine coins under magnification, compare them to reference guides, measure weight and diameter to fractions of a millimeter, and scrutinize the alignment of each letter and number. Even slight anomalies, a faint doubling, a minor die crack, an unusual luster, can elevate a coin from ordinary to collectible. The excitement comes not just from the potential financial value, but from understanding the intricacies of minting, appreciating the subtle differences that make each coin unique, and connecting with the history embedded in these small pieces of metal. Each penny becomes a portal into the past, a tangible link to the mid-1990s and the thousands of individuals who handled it before it reached a collector's hands. The legend of extreme valuations, including the often-cited hypothetical $263 million figure, while not grounded in documented sales, highlights human fascination with rarity, perfection, and uniqueness. It illustrates the idea that even ordinary coins can spark extraordinary imagination, and that perceived rarity, coupled with condition, uniqueness, and story, can drive attention far beyond face value. This narrative has contributed to the 1994 penny's continued relevance, inspiring collectors to search diligently through rolls, boxes, and long-forgotten collections in the hope of discovering a coin that might embody these qualities. In doing so, the 1994 penny becomes not just currency, but an artifact of possibility, imagination, and human curiosity. The most extraordinary 1994 pennies are those that combine multiple factors: perfect uncirculated condition, significant error or anomaly, and provenance that can be documented or traced. For example, an off-center 1994 D penny preserved in MS 66 condition with a noticeable die crack or subtle doubling could be worth many times more than a normal penny from the same year. Proof coins from San Francisco, particularly those graded PR 70, represent the pinnacle of perfection for this year and are highly collectible due to their combination of aesthetic appeal and scarcity. Even minor variations can create a ripple of excitement in collector circles, sparking interest, debate, and careful examination. Ultimately, the 1994 penny is a testament to the interplay of chance, human production, preservation, and perception. A coin that appears ordinary can, under careful scrutiny, reveal itself to be extraordinary. Its design, composition, mint mark, condition, and potential errors all converge to create an object that is not only part of American history, but also a source of fascination, study, and, in rare cases, substantial financial value. Collectors, enthusiasts, and historians continue to explore, document, and admire the 1994 penny because it embodies the enduring allure of coin collecting. The discovery that ordinary things can hold extraordinary secrets, the excitement of uncovering rarity where no one expected it, and the timeless connection between people, objects, and history as the years pass. The 1994 penny remains relevant and captivating. It is collected, studied, and admired not only for its intrinsic design and metal composition, but also for its potential to surprise and inspire. Whether it is a standard circulation coin, a proof, or a rare error, the 1994 penny exemplifies how modern coins can hold stories, historical significance, and collectible value far beyond their face value. The legend, the reality, and the possibility converge in each small coin, reminding us that even the most common objects may contain the extraordinary, and that in the world of numismatics, every detail matters, every anomaly counts, and every coin has a story worth telling. The 1994 penny, though small and often overlooked, ultimately symbolizes the intersection of history, production, chance, and human curiosity. It is both a piece of American currency and a collectible treasure, a reminder that value is not always obvious, that rarity can hide in plain sight, and that the thrill of discovery continues to captivate collectors around the world. From its humble zinc and copper composition to the intricate details of Lincoln's portrait, from the mundane circulation in everyday transactions to the speculative dreams of extreme valuations, the 1994 penny remains a coin that is endlessly fascinating, a testament to the enduring appeal of coin collecting, and a symbol of the extraordinary potential hidden within the ordinary. This concludes the comprehensive long-form script for a YouTube video on the 1994 US 1-cent coin, including its design, weight, mint marks, errors, history, preservation, collector appeal, and speculative market fascination.